the first women bosses I ever had were in the Marine Corps. Female drill instructors will yell at you, and you have to do what the fuck they say immediately. There's no like, ha ha ha. No, they come out. Let me tell you, recruit. I fucking don't. I was tall. Don't ever be tall in the Marine Corps. Don't do it. I'll chop you down like a tree, boy. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I ma'am. Have a dude scream that a few times. Some guys will develop a complex about it. Not me. But welcome back to the show. I want to do this DGG thing.
And so this is something that I think everyone is going to think that I'm attacking you specifically over, and it's not. It's something that I think is common to the.
Okay, I'm actually going to let her finish in a second. Let me do the intro. So everybody knows, or at least a lot of you guys I think know. I went to the DGG canvassing event in Cincinnati a couple weeks ago because I was just interested in seeing how it would work and if it would work, and I just kind of wanted to give a little bit back to my city and maybe make some professional connections on the way. I don't think I really made many professional connections. No one seemed particularly interested in talking to me, but I also didn't mention I was a streamer until like I was getting ready to fucking leave. So it is what it is. Either way, I have been seeing some like flack being given to DGG over this from different directions. One of them is very strange. It just seems like a bunch of moralizing, basically like, hey, why did you have this or that person there? Hey, you know, what? The kind of really hyper standard lefty stuff, you know, like, hey, this you, grade opinions. But one thing that did come up that made me a little bit nervous, because obviously it's like the worst possible thing that could happen, was there were some insinuations that some dudes were weird around girls, and there wasn't very many girls there, so I'm interested in it. Now, I wasn't around any girls. Not true. Actually, I had dinner with one in a group of like 10 people. Two, I was actually flanked by girls, but they were like DGG girls, so it is what it is. But, you know, they're a bunch of fucking online chicks. You know what I mean? They seemed fine. Everybody was interacting with each other like you would expect probably like DGGers to interact. There was some extremely online behavior, but nothing was particularly creepy or gross. And even the women that I was interacting with or that I saw interacting with other people seemed generally not just cool with it, but like that was interacting with everybody in the way that they expect to. Like they showed up fully anticipating being part of a DGG thing. So you know what I mean? So I heard today basically, and I think I heard online as well, like on Twitter, but like I don't take any Twitter things seriously ever until I see like actual like 17 tons of hard evidence, because people will just say shit on Twitter. You mean people would lie on the internet? Yes. Wife guy moment.
Political space.
Hello. But anyway, yeah, so this kind of happened, and this is... Oh, do they have this? I don't know.
Onto the internet as well, because it's such a masculine space, and so my question
I can't remember who this person is. I think their name is Erudite. I'm not up on the lore. I am never... Don't worry, if you're ever passing through my community and you're like, you're pretending you don't know, I don't pretend I don't know anything. I don't have the capacity to like lie effectively, not because I'm particularly good. My brain is just fucking Swiss cheese from like fucking taking shots in the fucking military. So I'm just too fucking jelly skulled to like keep up with my lies. So I just generally don't do it. So when I say I don't know people, it's not me trying to big time them. I literally probably don't know, or I can't remember their name because of skull problems.
We make women legitimately feel more welcome.
Uh-huh.
And
is this a quiet?
There's a couple of things that I see as like a breaking point. You can make women feel welcome, but then they stay for like a month or two, and then they feel uncomfortable, and then they leave and never come back, right? Uh-huh. So you need women to feel comfortable enough to come, and comfortable enough to stay. Uh-huh. which are kind of like two separate problems. So how do you attempt to tackle the first one?
I think when we frame this problem, I think there's a couple things that we have to think about. So I think
So we listen to this for a second and see if they get to what I want to talk about, and then if not,
what is the natural composition of this space?
Yes, definitely. Which is like probably 80% male, if not 85. Would you
my guess, if I had to guess, my guess would be that the overall composition of this space is.
I almost don't know why I'm playing this video. Actually, I think I can skip this video because I think they talk about this way too long, and I was drawing that Miss Fennec earlier, and I compressed all of the time I was listening to this. I'm going to boil down basically their points and the issues and address basically a different question that came up. This is the thing, like, I don't know. If you're a DGGer, I would unironically like to talk to Destiny about this. It's not an argument or a debate thing. It's just I think I have some insight that can help fix stuff. The issue is, during the DGG thing, that apparently maybe one girl said that like it was just a little like not great because there wasn't a lot of women there, and like one of the guys that was there like shot their shot. Basically, there was no like untoward behavior, but it was just kind of like exhausting to be at an event and you're trying to be professional, and somebody tried to like ask you out. You know what I mean? I think a little bit of that comes with the fact that there was a kind of like, there's a literal alcohol mixer that at that place, and I think that that's a perfectly fine place to ask anybody out, boy, girl, or what have you. If people are drinking and playing like idle like games, you know what I mean, together, that's to like bond and whatever. I don't think that the asking the people out is the biggest issue. But the thing, basically, the question that they raised, I think they kind of phrased it, or they're approaching the issue in sort of the wrong direction. But the issue that they raised is DGG and a lot of online male political spaces, or political spaces in general, are like heavily male dominated. I know there's a varied amount of reasons for that. There's nothing I can fucking do about it other than like leave, and that's not going to be much more than a drop in the bucket kind of deal. But basically, just women aren't highly engaged with these spaces, but that doesn't mean, or these internet type spaces. But in real life, women canvas at a much higher rate, and I can say that despite being, I guess you would say, like kind of like your hyper basic white guy, you know what I mean? I think I'm actually not suited to going around and knocking on doors because I'm intimidating. It's an aspect of my existence. I'm very large. I'm clearly stronger, just physically, like looking at me, you can tell I'm stronger than other people. So like motherfuckers aren't going to open their door because it could be risky and they don't know me. I loom. Whereas your average woman, considerably smaller than me, people don't tend to be hyper afraid of women. Some people want to engage with them. You know what I mean? Like actively, just like I would much rather talk to a lady than a guy because it's going to be a much less threatening experience. If you have a personal feeling about that and it makes you feel bad, I can't help you. I'm sorry. That's just the world. My bad. And I think that to be successful in these kind of areas, you need more of those kind of people, right? And apparently a lot of canvassing efforts outside of the DGG thing have shitloads of women in them. And so like even Progressive Victory, which is not a DGG organization, he just gives to it, but they do operate independently. Even they have a higher disposition or a higher dispersion of women in the ranks, so to say. And so what they were bringing up is, why is that the case? And I think they made the mistake of spending their time on understanding the problem because everyone kind of gets it, right? Online debate spaces are toxic. They're often extremely misogynist, even if it's not just in the content and the disposition of the men that engage with it. A lot of their topics will be either traumatizing or very uninteresting to women, or handled almost fucking 80. Would you, if you were like, it's very difficult to show somebody a picture of like Vosh and be like, you should listen to him on women's issues. You know what I mean? And that combined with the natural like harassment that's inborn to the internet, plus the natural additional harassment that's inborn to debate circles and stuff, I think a lot of women just don't want to fucking deal with that. But that's a different point, I believe, than the biggest issue that's there, which is like where there's a series of them. What am I saying? What do you do if you look like Miss Trunchbull, though, aka me? Then you fucking pick Matilda up by her hair and you fling her out there and tell her to vote. Guys, just please try to be normal around us women. Yes, I think the thing is also, though, and this is one of the bad directions that they went in the conversation, is they were sort of blaming it on women, but not in a horrible way. It's not a good thing to do, a great thing to do, but it was kind of like leads into that. And I think there's an aspect of truth in it, as in, but only like because the women need to be empowered to do stuff. I think the biggest issue is women have to be more present for a lot of those interactions to be okay. Because if you only have one woman and she has a bad experience, then 100% of the women have had a bad experience. So you just need to have more women in general. I think the best way to do that isn't just to try to make the space more female friendly, so to say, because that's kind of just, it seems like the same failed path that any like corporate organization has ever tried to do, where it's like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to start painting everything pink or something? Like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? I think in my mind, the most important thing to do to bring women into male dominated spaces, and they brought up the military during this and said they don't know about it, which I was like, fuck, I want to talk about them so bad with them, is one of the best ways is to approach it the way that the military has. The United States military before I believe like 1912, I could be wrong, was basically by virtue of construction 100% male in almost every job. Even the female jobs that existed weren't like technically military, right? And like women, I don't think could hold significant rank. And if there were women in it, it was usually like, hey, I'm that bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking that cool. That's not to say that there wasn't a place for them. It just started like that, and then it had to change. The way to change it up is kind of counterintuitive. You would want to say like, well, if a woman goes into the military and she kind of works her way up, right, and proves that she has like the ability to stand like toe to toe with the dudes or fucking side to side with the guys, then she should be there. But I think that's actually counterintuitive, and the military's kind of shown us that. The best thing to do is a sort of affirmative action in a weird way, and try to speed promote and put women in positions of authority kind of like almost excessively, and try to get them up there as much as you can to do the more effective opposite version. Because basically, if you try to make people go in through matriculation, more than likely just the pain in the ass of being in the military, plus the like just natural issues of being like a woman dealing with a bunch of guys all the time will actually be pretty difficult. Whereas shotgunning a fuckload of women into positions of power will mean that a fucking few really great women will stick, but it also can create situations where you have access to multiple female leaders, which is very important. I know I'm probably really confusing with this and where I'm going with it, but basically creating women-led units and then making like big expansive areas for women to be in charge of shit, and then merging those sideways into male units is kind of how the military did it. There's still going to be issues. Obviously, there's tons, but like in the military specifically, although there's a lot of bad things that happen to women to this day because of like, unreported sexual assaults and stuff, I would say in the military, the reporting rate and the punishment rate is probably, just given my experiences with the military and my experiences with the real world, I think it's higher. I think women are actually considerably safer and more respected in the military than they are in the civilian world. Because in the civilian world, you'd be like, oh yeah, no one, there was nothing bad happened. Like, well, no, there's nothing reported. Whereas in the military, like, you have to file reports and you can get in serious, like, you go to fucking prison for 20 years trouble if you don't. And it does cause gigantic scandals that do have to be addressed and stuff. Doesn't mean everything gets fixed. Doesn't mean everything's perfect. But I think it changes stuff up. So in my mind, I think that orgs like Progressive Victory and stuff, and it kind of falls in line with everything. I think that they should have dedicated multiple like female front-facing female leaders for stuff, because I think it will give, first off, the impression that a girl can go and talk to a girl sideways around a guy, which is very important for women. The ability to like report to someone of your own gender an issue that you're having is like one of the most crucial things for introducing women into typically male dominated spaces, because you can get fucking, especially if you're not used to how dudes even interact with each other, you can accidentally get punked out of fucking saying how you feel about shit because you're just used to interacting in a different way, and guys are a bunch of dipshits. That might cause a little bit of chaos. Having a single female leader is probably okay, but if that one chick sucks, then you have no one else to go to, and you might be like, oh, well, I don't want to burn my one bridge, so I kind of would rather not go. But if you have a lot of women in front-facing leadership positions that you can slot people under, I think it does a series of things. Well, first, like the first women bosses I ever had were in the Marine Corps. Female drill instructors will yell at you, and you have to do what the fuck they say immediately. There's no like, ha ha ha. No, they come out, let me tell you, recruit, I fucking don't come about. I was tall. Don't ever be tall in the Marine Corps. Don't do it. I chop you down like a tree, boy. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I am. Yes, ma'am, I am. Have a dude scream that a few times. Some guys will develop a complex about it. Not me. But I think this is a thing that people should think of anytime that you run into a male-dominated space, is not like making a big deal out of it. These are our new female leads. Just like literally, I'm just going to hire fucking 10% more ladies to do front-facing leadership shit. Oh, shit. I'm going back to the VOD to catch up, but I wanted to send you a thanks for being good background noise from the greenest Faye. $5 Canadian. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ooh, that like loaded weird on my little slug friend. I wonder why. Oh, well, we'll figure it out. Thank you for watching. I'm glad you're having a good time. Hopefully I didn't scrape everybody getting a little bit of arguing. We argue with chat. I still love you guys. You can argue. Just provide better arguments. In any case, though, I think one of the most important things that you can do is have a series of women that women can go to if they have a problem. Because there might be... Oh, by the way, what am I drinking? This is an IBC root beer. Sponsored by IBC, the second half of this stream. There's probably even better people that are actually in the military that could talk about it even more. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Because... First off, if you have something like Progressive Victory or whatever, I can say that was one of the things that they were lacking. If I had to give them like the military breakdown of their organization, there was no clear leadership, which is a serious issue. Or not leadership, but there was no clear, help me out here, what the fuck, chain of command. There we go. There was no clear chain of command, which I think you always need to have. In the military, you have courses on it, like basically once a fucking quarter. If you get sexually harassed, if you get bothered, if you have an issue, these are the people that you talk to. If this person is the person that is doing it, you go directly to this person. There is no walk around. That is literally who you go and talk to. You walk right past them. You go to the next guy. Then you go to this guy, this guy, this guy. I think an organization... Any organization, literally any organization, but especially one where you have to deal with strangers being introduced, will benefit extremely well from, or benefit a lot from having a clear organizational chart, especially even if it's just per thing. So it should just be like, hi, when you get your onboarding, hey, how you doing? My name's Phil, whatever. I'm the liaison. You're working with PV Victory Cincinnati. I am one of 3 little individual cells that we have here. There are, don't get worried, it sounds a little confusing. There's just 3. There is the canvassing cell, there's the training cell, and then there is the organization cell back here, right? I'm in charge of the canvassing cell. You guys are going to report to the people that work for me if you have any issues, right? There's Laura, Linda, Greg, Gary, Jenny, and Jerry. These 6 individuals are all in charge of the subcells. They will be doing training with you today. If you have any issues with any canvassers, if you have any issues out there, please contact them on your phone. There's one for each different little cell. You can talk to that. So, and like, hey, everybody introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Jenny, all those all the way through, and be like, hey, if you have any problems, by the way, problems are anything from as small as I'm running out of gas with my car to I broke my leg and I don't know what to do if I have to go to a hospital, to if you have any problems with any other canvassers. You can bring it straight to anybody. If you would like to speak with anyone anonymously, that's up the chain of command. That's perfectly fine. We will facilitate that for you. If you have any problems with any of these 6 individuals, you can come straight to me. If you don't want to go straight to me, you can talk to Clara. She's in charge of the organization cell, or any of Clara's immediate subordinates. They can, if you can't find her people are right there at these desks. You can tell them all because they have this yellow tape on their lanyard. Everyone in my cell has blue tape on their lanyard. On the training cell, they all have orange tape. Bah! Do you know what I'm saying? And then, like, if you break it down like that and people always know what's going on, the sense of safety becomes a lot more apparent. Because I just think I get immediately why even a woman that's maybe cool with and friendly with, you know, like the DGG community would be like, I just don't want to go. You know what I mean? Or with anything like that. But I feel like if you broke it down that way and had it so like, hey, yeah, this is this. You don't have to say like, if you're a woman, you can go speak to the women. Women they're whole ass adult human beings generally. So if you just point out other women that they're allowed to talk to and like, oh, you can also go to them, they'll be like, yes. Okay, I'm going to go talk to her. Definitely not bringing up any of my problems with fucking Greg over here. And so just even knowing that you can go out there and speak to people and there's going to be some sort of organizational flow into assisting your problem so that if you have an issue with another individual, you don't have to try to handle it yourself or feel worried or weird that you're going to bother anybody, you know, or that you'll have to talk to people. Or, you know, that like some people just need to be reaffirmed that if you have a conversation with them, you're not going to tell other people, because that's the scariest thing, especially if you know some of the stuff that happens around these events on Twitter and stuff. You're probably a little bit concerned, like, fuck, I don't want to get like doxxed. If I tell someone that I'm, you know, whatever, fucking Cheek Smasher 32, and they find out that I'm like a 25-year-old lady that lives here, like, fuck it, are somebody going to come after me, blah, 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 blah. And so just having like the sense of security for people immediately going in there, a path to resolution for conflict, a reliable person to speak to if you're confused or worried or weirded out by anything, you know, an easy opt out, and just people that you can feel comfortable talking to. I guarantee you that will do more for your numbers than like, hey, fucking, you know, let's make some sort of ostensible. And I'm not saying that fucking Destiny and then we're trying to say like, this is what they should do. I think they actually said like, we don't know what the fuck to do. And this would be my idea. But I guarantee you the word will get out slowly but surely. And it will let people know that even if maybe necessarily like they don't want to be a part of the DGG community, these events that these kind of people put on are very like human friendly. I won't even say like female friendly. I'll just say human friendly, because you'll be able to know what the fuck is going on and you'll be able to solve your issues without having to worry about, you know, burning a bridge or having 70 fucking strangers who you've never met suddenly pissed at you because you said fucking Gucci Greg was actually kind of weird, and he was, but like now you said it and they're all friends with Gucci Greg and you don't know who you can turn to, and it's scary, and it's like fucking the first day of high school all over again, but you're the transfer kid and you don't know where to sit in the lunchroom. Like if you once you think about it, like as a person that's going to be a stranger entering a situation like that, you can probably get a vibe. You know what I mean? Yeah, zigzag. You gotta fucking chill. That's weird. Horny posting is not permitted in chat. Tyler Jones. Tyler, hierarchies suck, but when you need help, you need a guy. But when you need help, you need a guy, and he/she need a guy holding them accountable. It just helps reassure people, bring forward issues. Yeah. I don't think like hierarchies are bad. I know like anarchists, it is what it is. I don't think there's any such thing. I don't believe in like inherent evil in a general sense. You know what I mean? Usually it's like a few things have to happen to make some sort of situation actually bad. I think hierarchies are fine. You know, it's just that they can go fucking crazy. Unchecked hierarchies are almost universally going to become bad because it's once you can permit the distribution of power upward, obviously it's going to go eternally upward, and that can be a serious issue. So you have to have checks and balances and all that kind of good stuff. But like, yeah, but especially like at a small level where every aspect of the hierarchy is exposed, open, you know, every member of it and what they basically have to lose and gain relative to the hierarchy, because there's no way for you to steal $10 million, you know what I mean? And like fucking convince people to part with their children because it's like not like a cult. It's just, you know, some dipshits in a fucking church in Cincinnati trying to fucking go out and knock on doors. I think it's fine in those cases. That's why high leadership guys end up psycho. They don't have anyone to turn to that isn't also beholden to them. 100%. Yeah, you've got to... You pinnacle style leadership, vanguard style leadership never works for that reason. And I think that brings us to the end of that story. I think that's a good... I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think in chat? What are your opinions on that? If you're watching back through this as VOD gang, what do you think? Would you go to a DGG meetup, or would you go and do canvassing with PV? And would you be more likely, especially if you're a woman or female presenting? Oh no, 10 Mexican dollars. Yo soy Flex, yo soy Felix. Thank you for the 10 Mexican dollars. That was 29 cents. Gracias. I gotta fucking change that.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and